still we see thee lie above thy deep and dreamless sleep. The silent stars go by, yet in thy dark